Good morning, good afternoon, good night. This is Ethan Allman with Blue Bunny Books, reading Brian Jack's Rakkety Tam, chapter 26. And there is a bunch of ravens going through a forest. So here we go. Kulo was making heavy on going on the chase, slowing down. He fell back to the pack, panting hoarsely. A slender ermine runner with packed fur dropped back from the front to report, "Mighty one, they are in sight." The wolverine wiped foaming slobber from his gaping mouth. "We must catch them." "Can you see my brother Askar?" The ermine moved sideways a pace, wisely out of Gunnar's immediate reach. "Sir, it is hard to tell. There's a bunch up in the trees are in the way, but I'm sure thy brother is with them. Methinks we have outrun them, sir. They have slowed down to little more than a trot." Wild hope surged through Golno's huge muscular body as he bounded forward with a burst of renewed energy. "Get them! Kill them! Kill!" Drawing curved swords and axes, spears and knives, the foxes and the ermine dashed forward with their chieftain howling as they broke out into the heathland. "Gulo! Gulo! Gulo! Kill! Kill!" Harsh, righteous cries began echoing through the pines as great dark shapes visibly flapped about amid the branches. Tam and the hares were made mere paces away from the formidable darkness of the groves. The vermin were roaring across the heath towards them. Tamagirl's face was fixed in a tight, dangerous smile as he spoke calmly to the younger patrol hares. "Eyes front now, steady in the ranks. Don't run yet. Nice steady pace now. That's the ticket. Don't look back." Ferdinand felt his fur eyes low wire at Tam's shout. "Up arms, charge, away, brawl!" The sea of spear and sword and javelin and points bristled upward. The hares charged into the pines, howling long patrol war cry into the dim green cast gloom. "Ooh-la-lay!" The air became thick and the huge blackbirds, crows and rooks winging down to attack the trespassers. A madness had fallen upon both birds and beasts. Weapons flashed upwards as beaks and talons slashed downwards. Tam took a big rook through its open beak as it dived to peck his eyes. He swung it from the sword and parried at another with his dirk, yelling out war cries like mad beasts. Ferdinand and Booty whipped away at the dark feathered masses. Both warriors covered their eyes with a paw as they thundered ahead towards a glimmer of sunlight that pierced the dim grove. Alongside Tab, a hare stumbled, her ear half torn off by cruel ranking bird talons. By grabbing onto the hare's homespun tunic, Tam was able to drag her up and along with him. Then, thrusting his dark into her weaponless grasp, the borderer urged her on. "Keep going, me pretty. We're nearly there. Halt away, brah!" The light from the outside grew brighter, dispersing the darkness and illuminating the flashing of a still. Paws pounded the thick floor and the dead pine needles, scattering them broadcast. Ragged dark shapes squawked, beaks pecked, glistening talons ripped savagely at fur, eyes, paws, even at naked steel blades. There they are out. The long patrol broke forth in the high, bright midday, sobbing, cheering, weeping, laughing, and still shouting war cries. Booty Whoopscop made sure the last hare was out. Never forgot in his duty, the gallant corporal raped out orders to all the sentry. "Straighten yourselves up now, form ranks, keep your weapons drawn, face to the trees. It ain't over yet, buckos. Never mind your wounds, stay on alert." One or two crows almost came out beyond the grove, but then wheeled and turned at cries from within. Mad and bloodless, they hurled themselves back to meet Gulo and the vermin headlong. Ferdinand found Tam cleaning his blade on a two-smack of grass. "Tam, there's no sign of Doogie or Euphis. I can't see him anywhere. What do we do?" The warrior's jaw tightened. Not a thing if either of them went down among those birds. But somehow I can't see that happening to Doogie Plum or that crafty vole. We've got to get away from here fast. Ferd nodded curtly. Right you are, Tam. We've lost 3 hares, and there's a good number wounded. Getting back to the river on the Shoebait's the best plan. Then we can regroup and plan ahead. But by the way, was Doogie and a vole chap with you when you entered the pines? Tam shook his head. No. Weren't they with you, Wildberry? Lance Jack sheathed his long rapier. No, I was bringing up the rear. I never saw either of them. Come to think of it, I didn't catch sight of them at the edge of the woods, or whilst we were crossing the heath. I hope those two are all right. What? Tam accepted his dirk back from the young hare with a tournier. Looks like they weren't with us for a while. Don't fret, I'll take my oath on it that those 2 rogues are safe and well someplace. Whoops waggled a paw in his ear at the screeches and the squawks which were emanating from the den deep in the pines. Good grief, let's get away from this racket. Patrol, come to attention smartly. About turn, lead off by the right, and head for the big hill yonder. Quick march. Going down the easy slope into the valley, patrol entered the trees and began marching uphill. Now that they had come through the ordeal of the pines and were temporarily free of pursuing vermin, talking of battling about, rearing and being elated, the young hares chatted as they marched on. Wait till we get back to Samastratron and tell them about what, eh? Rather, look at this scar I've got on my blinking cheek. Blighter, who did it, looked more like a bloomin' eagle than a crow. Huh, he won't be flying tonight, though. No, sir. Ha, that's nothing. There was one bird there the size of a flippin' feather mattress. Picked me up by the ear. Would you believe it? I lost my sword, but I kicked him until he feigned let me go. Mr. McGrail loaned me his big knife, so I finished the villain off. I and 2 more like him. The speaker's voice trailed off as he noticed that Tam was within hearing range. The border warrior looked over at her and winked. That's right, I saw it myself. You were very brave, miss. An example to the patrol. His remarks set off a string of other tales, each full of self-congratulations. Did you see me, Mr. McBurrell? I had 2 of the point of my javelin quick as a flash. One was swooping down on me, and I remembered Sergeant Wickmole's boxing lessons. I hit him with such a punch that the biter shot to one side and buried his beak in an oak. Oh, you should have seen him struggling to get loose, flapping and scratching like I don't know what. Hold on, buried his beak in an oak? That was Pine Grove. Wasn't it a flaming oak in sight, old lad? What did I say? Oak? I meant pine. Yes, a pine. The beast went back and forth until Webster whispered to Tam, Did I tell you about how I slew a score of rooks and carried 4 wounded on my back? Tam stifled a laugh as he replied, Don't be too hard on the young uns. It's probably their first real battle. Can you remember how you boasted on your first real encounter? Mate, I can. It took them a full season to shut me up, and the way I bragged about it. Buddy chuckled. I recalled it well, Tam. I was very young then, but to hear me tell the tale of that battle, 'twas a waste of time attending it for the long patrol. According to me, I won a single pod. Let them carry on their tall tales what they're not doing harm to any beast by boasting. After a few days, the excitement will wear off. Then one night they'll be crying themselves to sleep, remembering the pals they lost back there. Tam nodded slowly. I can remember doing that myself. When they reached the hilltop, of the patrol could see the river far below the trees. 1 shoe, 2 shrew were off waiting to meet Tam at the hilltop. 1 shrew shook his paw. Well, sir, you came out of it alive. Did your plan work? The border warrior glanced back at the pine grove in the verse. I think so. At least Gulo isn't out of there yet. Though I can't imagine a monster like him to be defeated by a number of blackbirds, can you? 2 Shoe shrugged elegantly. Maybe, maybe not. We've been sitting here to watch the land and to get word back in the slow by tomorrow's dawn. Our log is waiting for you down there for you. He's got a feed laid on. Ooh, food. Tam tweaked Furman's ear. Did you hear that? The Gushams have made victuals ready for us. Without further ado, Ferdinand set off on a brisk downhill. I say, jolly decent of you old shoe types, what? They certainly know what a sling and a salad and a pressed pasty. Ha 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 ha, fighting by morning and feasting by night, eh? Just show me that bloomin' grub. Tam nodded to Buddy. Hear that? He's almost forgot the fight the moment food was mentioned. The corporal marched off smartly as Ferdinand's wait. Well, what can you expect? The chap's young, he's got an appetite, and he's a hare. Stands to reason, don't it? Tam kept pace down here and listening to a little ditty he was singing. To Buddy and listening to a little ditty he was singing. I woke up this morning, so glad the night has passed. And straight down the table, breaking it fast. Oh, breakfast, oh, breakfast. Us chaps must have some breakfast. There's oatmeal, honey, toast, and tea. And seconds just for me. When I finish burgers, I hang around the kitchens and smell the victuals cooking is getting quite bewitching. Luncheon, luncheon, that's what I'll soon be munching. Oh, soup and salad, chomp and chew. I think I should eat too. At the afternoon's dessert, I wait patiently until I hear the cook call he's serving noontime tea. Oh, tea time, an utterly sublime time. Each dainty cake and homely scone, I'm first in line for one. When chaps race to the table, it's always me the winner. I'm fairly famished as a frog when I run into dinner. Oh, dinner, dinner, my figure ain't much thinner. I lack at both my plate and paw, then I yell out for more. I'm starving, flippin' hungry, oh, isn't it a crime? The interval from dinner to good old supper time. Supper, supper, house, supper served up, sir. Then pick some sculf up good and tight to take to bed tonight. The Gusham cooks had dug a baking pit on the river bank with fire on the sit of it. Log a log, Tuggy and greeted Tam and Buddy warmly. It does me heart good to see you again, mates. Well then, how did your plan work out? Is every beast back in one piece? Tam returned the Gusham chieftain's hearty paw shake. We left Gulo and his vermin to argue with the blackbirds. I'm still waiting the outcome of it. There's 6 or 7 hares wounded, but not too badly. We lost 3 of the crooks and rooks. I didn't imagine there were so many birds roosting in those pines. Doogie and Euphis have gone missing, but I'm sure those 2 rogues are still on the loose someplace. So how's it going with you and your Gusham friend? Toogie pointed to be the pit and the fire. Whist we was waiting. The cook spotted a shrew and a trout swimming upriver, so we snared a few. They've got trout bait going. It'll be ready before evening. I've posted 2 lookouts to watch the pines for you. My healers will tend to your wounded. Come aboard for some snacks and a drink. There's something that's been bothering me. I want to talk to you about it. Tam, Booty, and Fruitament sat beneath the awning in Toogie's boat, drinking rose-hip cordial and nibbling on a tray of preserved fruits with the late noon sunlight shimmering off gently flowing water. Tam and the hare sat back and relaxed for the first time that day. Buddy called to the young hares on the bank, who were shouting and glancing as they told the Gushams of their heroic exploits. I say, you chaps, please keep it down to a dull roar. He turned to the shrew chieftain. Now then, old lad, what's on your mind, eh? Toogie scratched his beard. It's something you said back at the water meadows, Tam. When you joined up with the long patrol hares, how many vermin were you tracking? The border warrior pursed his lips. Oh, about 5 score, I figured. And Gulu, of course, but no more than that. Toogie nodded. I thought that's what you said, but when I sent Owen Shoe and Two Shoe to find out where the vermin were camped last evening, they reported back, but there was only slightly more than 2 score of them. Ferdinand glanced from one to another. Oh, corks. That leaves half of the blinking villains unaccounted for. What? Buddy bit his lip. You know what that means, Tam. Tam stood up, fired by a sense of urgency. The other half will be attacking the Abbey. We'd best get the patrol and move back to Redwall. Log-a-log, Toogie gestured the squirrel back to his seat. I've lived a few seasons more than you, beasts. Running off with half a scheme in your sure route to failure. Let's take time to figure things out proper like. I've got 1 or 2 ideas I'd like to put to you. Tam sat down. I've always ready to listen and heed the chieftain of your experience. Togi, carry on, mate. The Gusham leader explained his scheme. If you go, you could get through the birds and the pines, then Gulu could. And though I don't know what shape his number of vermin will be in when he does, rest assured, though, he'll be coming after you, so you can't afford to ignore him. Your first plan was to draw the vermin away from Redwall and pick 'em off until they're finished. But that plan won't hold water anymore, Tam. I think we should stay put in this river when Gulu comes out of the pines and picks up the trail again. Then we'll move. We'll wait till the last moment, then leave a clear track for him to follow. My Goosham can get back to Redwall by one waterway and another until we're not far from the Abbey. I have scouts sent to the other beasts who will help us. I know lots of creatures who are friendly to Redwallers. They'll help without question. Tam winked at the old shrew. Right, Toogie. A great plan. What do you think, buddy? Those of us will approve. Capital tactic. What? Right? That's what the next move, chaps. Tam quaffed the last of his drink and rose once more. Get out there on the riverbank. Make lots of noise and keep a good fire going. Then Gulu and his vermin can see where we are and come after us again. Okay, Toogie? The Goosham chieftain was in complete agreement. Don't want to lose them, do we? It was dark by the time the trout bake was ready. By the light of the 3 good fires, Goosham cooks racked away the glowing embers on top of their pit, uncovering a layer of earth and steaming deep foliage. They scooped out the apples, celery, onions, and watercress, laying on top of the baked trout. The fish, which had been placed on the bed of hot stones at the bottom of the pit, were cooked to perfection. Hares and shrews sat together on the riverbank, drinking old shrew beer and doing justice to the delicious meal. 4 young Long Patrol members entertained every beast with the barrack room deity, which was one of the old favorites from the sergeants and some master drawn. From the harmonies were a bit off key, but what they lacked in melody content they made up for in volume. All the others knew the Walla Walla chorus and taught it to the shrews as they sang along raucously. A gallant young warrior lay weary, a battlefield far from his home. We tried to set up in the sound cheery, and all these were words I didn't own. Oh, walla walla wimbo, bing bang bimbo, walla 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 whoa. What I wouldn't give a basin full of me grandma's hard baked stew. Give this pudding back to my dear mother, and tell her I slew 10 vermin with it. Say I don't wish to cause any bother, but the sergeant's a silly great twit. Oh, walla walla wimbo, bing bang bimbo, walla walla wimbo whoop. I must complain, I've got a pain, and the cook makes poison soup. Tell my fat little sister I love her, and give her this flea-ridden coat. Say it comes from her handsome young brother. It was swiped off a greasy old stoat. Oh, willa willa wimbo, bing bang bimbo, willa willa wimbo woo. My ears are green and my bottom's red and my nose is turning blue. Now the 4 beasts are nearly upon me. I'm eating a raw onion pie. I remember my auntie quite fondly, and it's so jolly hard not to cry. Oh, walla walla wimbo, bing bang bimbo, walla 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 yeah. I finished my scoff, so I'll be off. I'll be home by tea time, Ma. Lockalog, Togi learned the Walla Walla bit quickly, sat tapping both footballs and singing loudly throughout the proceedings. When the song was over, he smoothed his beard and sat up straight, remarked to Tam, "Silly pointless song, huh? These things those young hares sing. You wouldn't catch a Goosham warbling rubbish like that." Then 3 shrew, another one of the sisters, and 4 shrew, her brother, leapt up. They were cavorting about the bank, holding up paws and splashing in and out of the shallows as they performed a lively rendition of Goosham's favorite. Tam had trouble keeping a straight face in Toogie's presence as he listened to the words. Splish, splash, bibbly crash, all in the water amid the cascade. Bow to the maid and kiss the cook's young daughter. How happy we'll be, just you and me. We'll have a good old wash. Your mother'll say, "Oh, lack-a-day, splish, splash, splosh." Splish, splash, bibbity crash, the little maid, she said, "Sir, just looking a mess in my fine dress, and I'll blame it on the weather. As for you, I'll tell you true, my daddy, a good old gosh, He'll lay, tend your tail, and make you well. Splish, splash, splosh. Tam quickly glanced sideways at Toogie. Splish, splash, splosh. The Goosham and the chieftain were challenging him. Aye, it's a fine old song, part of our old true tradition. A bath time ditty, as I recall. Mothers sing it to their babies, wish they scrub 'em in the tub. Anyway, anything wrong with that, Mr. McBurrow? The border warrior hastily reassured the old patriarch. Oh, no, sir, a traditional Goosham song, just as you say. One of the young shrews seated nearby called out to the three reinforcements, "Sing us another one, mates. How about woolly woolly whoopity goopity goo maloop?" The log-a-log tweaked the young one's ears, murmuring quietly to him, "Enough of that. 'Twas past your bedtime." He turned to Ferdinand, changing the subject quickly. "So then, what do you think of the Grisham victuals, eh?" The hare mopped up his platter with a crust, watching the cooks eagerly for a third helping. "Oh, absolutely top hole, sir. If this was a standard of Grisham grub, I might join up in your flippin' crew and become a jolly old shrew, what?" One of the cooks was heard to groan. "Fates forbid the day. I'd soon rather run off and be a vermin than have to feed that famished-faced gluten for a season." Night wore steadily on. The fires burning down, the scarlet embers changing and broad, calm with the rivers with their glow. Gulu the savage and his vermin had emerged from the pine thickets just before sundown. They had fought their way out point south of the hare's exit place. The wolverine's losses were severe. His followers now numbered only 30. All due to Gulum's insane love of killing and fighting. He had reveled in the combat against the birds. Forgetting all else, he stayed within the pines to inflict mighty slaughter upon the rooks and crows who had dared to attack him. The deep carpeted pine needles floor was littered with winged carcasses. Unwittingly, Gulu had done the shrews a great service. Never again would the predatory birds roost in insufficient numbers to harass the Goosham in their water meadows. This, however, did not concern the wolverine, as his mind settled back to more urgent matters. The capture of the walking stone, the deadly revenge upon his brother. He ignored the raking scratches, wounds, and dried blood upon his powerful frame, tearing feathers from a slain rook and sinking his fangs into it. Surviving vermin had lit a fire upon the open hillside. Crouched about it, they licked their scratches, tended, injured, and roasting the bodies of their dead enemies. Gulu watched them closely, gauging their mood, which he knew was less than willing. It did not matter to him how they felt. A beast such as Gulu the Savage was concerned only with his own desires. A badly wounded ermine gave a whimper of pain. Tossing aside a half-eaten crow, he lay back, exhausted and dispirited. Unaware his leader's keen senses were focused on him, the ermine moaned softly to his comrades. "I lost an eye to those blackbirds. They tore such a rip in my guts that I can't hold victuals down. Methinks I need to rest for a long while." Blue padded over to the wounded vermin. He leaned over him, inquiring in an unusual gentle voice, "Thy injuries are bad. Do you crave sleep, friend?" The ermine was both pleased and relieved at his master's concern. For "Aye, lord." A single brutal blow from the wolverine's paw broke the vermin's neck, kicking the lifeless beast to one side. Gulu straightened up. The campfire flames reflected in his insane eyes as he growled out a harsh warning. "Who wants to join this whining coward?" The remaining ermine and foxes averted their eyes and held their breath as the wild stare swept over them. Gulu grabbed a charred crow from the fire, crunching his fangs into it. After devouring the bird, he sat down, gazing to the flames while snarling out his commands. "Two of you go and scout where my brother and his band are at. The rest of you eat, fill your mouths on the flesh of our foes. Mayhaps it'll put some fire in your bellies, some iron into your spines." Nearly every vermin stood up, all wanting to go scouting, fearing to stay with their wild leader's company. Gulu voice topped them in the ranks. He pointed with his dead crow's talon leg. "I said two, you and you. The rest of you stay with me. Let me hear a chant of war to show me you are ready to serve Gulu the Savage." His creatures knew better than refuse. They stood around the fire, stamping their footpaws and waving blades as they roared one of their battle warriors from the lands of the icy beyond the great sea. What is fear? I know not. What is death? The foe we slot. Gulo, gulo, gulo. Blood is what my blade drinks. Slaughter what my mind thinks. Kill, kill, kill. Lead us on, mighty one, o'er the bodies of the slain. Gulo, gulo, gulo. Blood will swell to a lake. Smoking fires blaze thy wake. Kill, kill, kill. Eat the flesh of those who fell. Let them tremble where we call. Gulo, gulo, gulo. In the pine tops, a bedraggled crow perched in its empty nest, awaiting a mate who would never return. It raised its head, squawking mournfully at the calm gold dawn, which creamed the eastern cloud banks of the hue newly churned butter. The white fox, who had been sent scouting in company with the ermine, made his report to Gulo. Mighty one, they are camping by the broad river beyond yonder wooded to the east. They have boats. The wolverine hooded eyes bored into the fox's searchingly. Ask for my brother? What news of him? Did you see him? The scout's limbs trembled, but he answered truthfully, "Nay, sir. Neither of us saw him, only a tree mouse, a river dog, tall rabbits, and other beasts, small ones who know the ways of the river craft. They were all we saw, mighty one." Gula the savage rose, shaking his huge barbaric head. "I know Astro's with them. Get in front of me, all of you. We go to the river with all speed." Alright, we'll see you for chapter 27. Love you guys, and see you in the next one.